Hello, hello. Can someone let me know if you can hear me? It says I'm live, but I'm still waiting to see how many people are here other than what I can see in the chat. Okay, 14. We've got 14 people. Okay, I think we're live. Okay, Carol says, I hear you. Okay, awesome. Yay. Let me scroll back. I feel like I've missed some of the chat. But I'm making a note. It's 3:00 on the dot. We're starting our first sprint at 3:05. We're going to be productive today. But Carol asked, how's the weather today? Carol, I can complain about this with you because I know that it's summer for you. It is currently 79 degrees Fahrenheit. It should be winter here, and it's not. And I'm very upset about that. My air conditioning is on. That's how the weather is today. Oh, you've got rain? That's not fair. I mean, I'm thrilled for you, but I'm sad for me. I'd love some rain. Welcome, Witchy Mal Meow. I love that username. New follower and relatively new writer. All are welcome here. And Tammy, I have too many projects I want to write and I can never focus enough on one. Yeah, relatable. Hashtag relatable. We've got Catherine from Plymouth in the UK. Sassy Dragon from England. I love all my UK. I love how we're so international. Just makes me so happy. Carol's from Australia. Book Towers from Wales. Oh, and that reminds me, I need to put up our banner here. So welcome to the stream. I want to have everyone let us know what you're working on, and where you're streaming from if you haven't already. Book Towers is working on 2 outlines at the moment, like only an ADHD person can. Yep. Zazie, thank you very much. I try to be uplifting and positive. But you are most welcome here. We're a really nice community, I promise. So Blue Mountain in upstate New York, and it's freezing. I wish I could send you some of my weather. I wish I could trade. I wish we could split the difference, so that it's cooler for me and warmer for you. And moonlighting novelist, unseasonably warm here in Montana. It's just, we broke records in like heat records in January, and it's so much warmer for February. 79 is more like what it can be by late February. So yeah, we're just not getting a winter this year. Also upstate New York, Meredith, and it's so cold. 8 degrees in New York for Tammy. Oh, I'm so jealous. Oh, Janelle. Hi. Janelle. I love you. I was just hanging out with Janelle. Janelle's one of my in real life friends, one of my offline friends. I missing Wildflower too. I went back and got what do they call this? A citrus raspberry lemonade. This is so good. You can also let me know in the chat what your drink and snack of choice is for this stream. I've got my citrusy berry lemonade, and I've got a pack of Percy Pigs. So yes, but I wish I was back in Wildflower too, Janelle. And yes, my AC is on already. I am my apartment roasts in the heat. So like it's south facing, which rookie mistake. I knew better. I shouldn't have gotten a south facing apartment, but oh well. I will trade you for your blizzard if that was actually possible. Relaxation Station. Howdy from Slovenia. Howdy. Okay, we've got 1 minute left. Quick answer to this question, Erica Wallace. Yes, it is possible to write a novel without any creative writing courses. I have written more than 10, and I have not taken a single creative writing class. So it is definitely possible, and you are in the right place. Thriving Gently is knitting in Morocco during this stream. Awesome. We've got a comedy horror fantasy hybrid. That sounds very interesting. Okay, I'm speeding through the rest of the chat here because it's time to get writing. Okay, so are we all ready? Are we ready for our first sprint? I am going to be working on Across the Pond. I am editing the second draft, working on the second draft. So I will be editing that. I am rewriting the final chapter as part of my editing process. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be working on. So I am going to put up our timer and start us for 25 minutes. And let me switch my banner. I'm still learning all these like fun stream expert things. So now we're writing. If anyone joins late, put in the chat what you're working on, and we will come back to the chat after our 25 minutes is done. Happy writing, everyone. Okay. How'd we do? Let me go back and see what we've missed in the chat. We've got Maggie has arrived. Yay. Mirror Lane working on contemporary romance. Maggie's working on Project Shadow. JC Carpenter working on your newsletter. I need to do that too. I have not posted a newsletter so far in all of 2026, and that is not good. Magdalene has joined us from snowy Europe. And someone was asking what time it is in Australia. Rhiannon says it's 8:45 Sunday morning. Time zones are strange. It just blows my mind. Elijah asked, have you ever done a video on your editing process? If not, can you do one? I have not done one, and I will do one. The plan is to film that in the next week or so. I definitely want that to be a February video. I'm actually going to split that up into both one video that's all about my self-editing process, like covering the entire process, and then I want to do videos breaking that up. And so doing one on my developmental editing process, one on my line editing process, one on copy editing and how I do all of that. So those are coming. Those are going to be kind of done in the kind of scripted voiceover with aesthetic B-roll of me working, like the last 2 Wednesday videos have been. So I need to script those videos, and then I can film them and put those up. Danny is here. Welcome. And working on first draft of second novel. Yay. Carol is organizing scenes so the story flows better. Yep. That's sort of what I'm working on too, figuring out all of my scenes. And Moonlighting Novelist is reading and hanging out with us. Yay. Mirror Lane, yeah, let me know how did the sprint go? What progress have we had? So Mirror Lane, 943 words. I got 855 written. So that's awesome. Desiree. So hear me out. Chipotle was delivered. So I'll definitely write on the next. You know, we got to feed ourselves. We've got to feed ourselves and make sure that we're taking care of ourselves so that we can write. Hannah is about to go to bed, UK time. Not sure if you're still in the chat, but if you're watching on the replay, hope you enjoy the replay. Yeah, this was a very last minute thing. So I know we're working well for everyone in Australia and New Zealand. A little not so great timing for everyone in Europe. So we've got 440 words. Awesome. JC's here. Hi, JC. Currently reading Stolen Midnights by Catherine Quinn and have less than 60 pages left. Oh, getting so close. I think I saw that book when I know I saw something by Catherine Quinn, but I can't remember the title, but I think it might have been Stolen Midnights. I saw that at the bookstore today. Picked it up, looked at it, didn't buy it because I already had 2 books in my hand. But you'll have to let me know what you think. Mackie got all excited when you said my name. I feel like we are friends. We are friends. Forward Looking is here, working on the proposal, bane of my life. I know the feeling. Erica got 331 words. That's awesome. Here's our timer. Okay, let me pause that. I want to finish going through the chat really quick. then we will get back to working. Reading the chat. How have you got yourself back into a routine to work on your writing, as I'm finding it hard since the Christmas break? Sprints like this are helping. Co-working with people definitely is helping. I talk a little bit about this in the vlog I will be editing for Monday. So day after tomorrow, we'll talk about this a little bit more. But I have found that, because like it's been a struggle to get my brain ready to work on developmental editing and like diving into a whole new part of the process and coming back into like starting back up after a long break and at the beginning of a whole new part of the process is really hard. So breaking it down into smaller, less intimidating steps really helps. Yay, Elizabeth. Yes, you caught one of my lives. We're just getting started. Okay, Hannah is here just having a hot chocolate in bed. That sounds so cozy. Patricia is reading Brave Together. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying it. You're going to be caught up before you know it, so I definitely need to hurry up and edit this book. And I just noticed I've left the "We're Writing Now" banner on, even though we're chatting. I need to remember to switch to the "We're Chatting" banner. So yeah, Peter, ironically, I'm late to the party. I was busy writing. That's a good reason. As Mira Lane says, excellent reason to be late. So, okay. Okay, I think we're caught up on the chat. So let me get our timer back up. Let us know if you're new, what you're working on. And yeah, we'll do at least one more sprint and then we'll see how we're all doing. It is going to be getting a little bit late for me. But I am making progress, so that feels really good. So I'm going to get our timer started and we will do another 25 minutes. Happy writing, everyone. Okay. Let me go back and look at the chat. I've missed quite a bit, I think. And let me take this off. Okay. Maggie asked, any tips on how to structure scenes to show a time lapse across a few years? That's what I'm really struggling with in my outline. That's tricky to give advice on because I feel like it depends on, like, there's a few different ways to do it. And I found that sometimes I don't know if I'm doing it well until I write it. So like, don't be afraid if you're in the outlining stage, don't be afraid to just outline it in whatever way it makes sense to you, and then write it that way. And then you might make some changes while you're writing it, and then you'll probably make more changes once it's written and you've been able to edit it and like go back and read through it and see how it works with the whole big picture. I think you can either, it kind of depends on if each scene is like 1 year apart or something, then you just want to make sure that you're acknowledging in some way the time that has passed between each scene. Or if it's one scene is at one point in time and then the next scene is a few years later, then one paragraph of narrative summary of like what happens in that span of time. I share this book in Monday's video, but this is Refused to Be Done, How to Write and Rewrite a Novel in 3 Drafts by Matt Bell. I've pulled this out because this is I'm at a good point in my process where I should be like flipping back through this. But I remember there was one section in here, and I think it was in regards to the second draft. But he talks and shares some examples on time narrated versus time of narration. That's on page 50. And I think he talks about it a couple times. So this might be a good one to check out, whether you're still in outlining mode or in first draft mode or in second or third draft. Like I said, I'll talk more about this in Monday's vlog. But I read this towards the end of last year. Matt is actually a professor in the creative writing program in my department at the university. But I'm not a fan of craft books, and I really like this book. So that might help. Esther joined us for a bit. I'm not sure if Esther's still here or not. Let me see. Reading the chat. Everyone's saying hi to Esther. We've got someone currently working on my research paper analysis of factuality verb features in journalistic articles. That sounds really interesting. I love hearing what you all are working on. Desiree, the blank page of a new chapter. Hardest part is to just start. Type one word on the page. Yes, just start. That's something else I'm going to talk about in Monday's vlog. I need to edit Monday's vlog, but that will be in there as well. So, Carol, in Scrivener, how do you change the fonts and keep it the same size through your document? I mean, it's got the font menu up at the top and the font sizes, and I found that whatever I set it for in one section, it'll maintain that. For every new document you start. We're going to pause our timer again because 5 minutes is never enough. I wasn't going to do a third stream or a third sprint. Let me know if you guys want a third sprint or if you want to just talk for a little bit. I feel like I can do one or the other. We can do another sprint or we can chat. But either way, I should probably wrap up in about 20 to 30 minutes. Peter did another 296 words. Good ones too. It felt good knowing what others were writing too. I don't know how many words. I was at 855 after the first sprint. I'm now at 1490. So that's where I'm at. So Maggie was saying that each scene is like a year or 2 years apart. It's supposed to show the development of the trio training over years until main events happen. Yeah, I would say that's one where just this is such an unhelpful answer, but just outline it, write it however it makes sense to you right now. I feel like this is something where you've got to get something on paper first to see if it works. I don't think you're ever going to feel 100% about how you outline it. You just have to dive into it. Although I do like a witchy Mal Meows option. Just put in those 5 minutes later, 10,000 years later banners from SpongeBob. That's fine, right? That works too. Esther's still here, just replying very slowly. Okay, a few people are saying maybe that chatting is good. I feel like I was meant to finish this at 4, which was 11 minutes ago. But I feel like I can stay on for another 20 minutes. I really should stop by 4:30. JC finished Stolen Midnights. It's her new release. I loved it. Accidentally read it all in one day. That's when you know a book is good, honestly. And Esther's giving some good advice to Maggie. Read books with training in the book. See how various authors do it and let your mind and creativity tell you how you want to do it. That's really good advice. I would definitely check out books that involve character training and see how they do that. Forward looking. I'm in a good writing frame of mind, so would prefer a sprint, but I can mute you, Mob, if need be. I think muting us might be the good thing. Might be the best thing. I think regarding, worried about you're going to mess up if you start writing, don't worry about messing up. That's what first drafts are for. So you can try things and then try something else. Honestly, for something like that, I would say take one of those scenes that you're envisioning or one of those time jumps, write it 3 different ways and see which one you like best. So Danny got 328 words written during the sprint. That's awesome. Elizabeth, I hear Google Docs isn't favorably anymore. Apparently they scan your work. Would you recommend Scrivener then? Yes. So I would recommend Scrivener or any other writing program that is not cloud-based and is not being stored on someone else's server. You will never have full satisfaction that your work isn't being used for purposes other than what you are comfortable with, because companies change their policies, change their terms of service all the time. I don't know. The last time I looked into it, Google has said that they don't scan your work, but that could have changed, and that most likely has changed. I've never trusted that anything I put on Google Docs is completely private. There is weird language in their terms of use or terms of service from the last time I looked at it. So like I use Google Docs in my full-time job for the university because I'm less concerned about my intellectual property, because in my job, all of my intellectual property is technically owned by the university. Anything I create as a teacher for teaching my classes is ultimately owned by the university. So I'm not protective about it. But my creative writing, that's my IP. And I don't want that being scraped and used for any other purposes. So I do recommend Scrivener because everything is owned by me, housed on my computer. I can back it up to my own cloud storage and storage systems, whatever I prefer. And I can choose backup systems and cloud systems that I like, their privacy settings and all of that. So you've got a lot more freedom with that. I also think functionally Scrivener is much, much better for writing than Google Docs. I do have experience writing a novel in Google Docs. My friend and co-author, Tamsin, that's what we used for developing and outlining our book More Than Fate a few years ago. My advice, if you are using Google Docs, make each chapter its own doc, because the longer a doc gets in Google Docs, the glitchier it becomes and the harder it is to load that doc. But I like Scrivener for many, many, many reasons. One being the privacy reasons. It's owned by me. It's hosted locally. I control where it gets backed up, how it gets backed up. The other reason I like Scrivener is it's a one-time fee. So like Microsoft Word I haven't looked into Word's and Microsoft's terms of services. I know they've switched primarily to a subscription model, which is obnoxious. And they might be more cloud-based like Google Docs. And they're also really heavy. Microsoft is developing their own LLMs. So you just have to be very careful of that. So I like Scrivener. I also have liked Babisco. I do have an affiliate link for them in my description boxes of all my videos. From what I know, Babisco is also housed locally. It's a one-time fee. They have a free version, which some of my favorite features are still included in the free version. So Babisco is another good alternative. I think even the paid version is a little bit cheaper than Scrivener. In terms of functionality and how the writing and editor space is set up, I do prefer Scrivener to Babisco, but Babisco is a good alternative for someone who doesn't really like Scrivener. So yeah, I don't like Google Docs for a variety of reasons. One of them being that, yeah, I don't really trust what Google will do with the information. That being said, Google is probably scraping all of my YouTube videos. So I feel like to a certain extent, it's hard to avoid it. So reading the chat again. I haven't heard of Living Writer. I think it is hard to know what makes a program good or bad, and it's going to vary by people, because we all use different criteria. I think on the one hand, like there's one set of criteria that we need to be aware of as writers, and that is, where is the program hosted? Is it local host on your computer? Is it hosted, like, do you need the internet to access it? Is everything hosted and stored externally from your own system? The other thing in that bucket of criteria we need to be concerned about is data security, data privacy, who actually owns the content that you're creating on it. Obviously, you have copyright, But a lot of these companies, part of their terms of service is if you use their program, you are granting them the rights to be able to access your material for their own kind of back end purposes. So, really looking into the terms of service and understanding how your writing is going to exist within that software. I feel like there's those kind of technical things and information security and privacy things that we need to keep in mind. The other bucket or category of criteria that we all should have is more personal and more subjective. And that's, how much of a learning curve are you willing to put up with? What is the price of the software? Is it on a recurring subscription model, or is it a one-time cost? Is it a free version with limited features, or pay a little bit more and have access to everything? We're all going to have different tolerances and budgets for that sort of thing. So there's no, I love Scrivener. I love Scrivener so much. I know people who don't love it. I know people who don't get on with it. And I really like some of the features of Babisco. And I do use Babisco for most of my projects, but I don't use it to write in because my brain just likes writing in Scrivener more. So sometimes we have to play around with a few different things and see which one we like. So Living Writer is cloud-based. And that's not always necessarily a bad thing. I just want to be very clear about that. But then when you know it's cloud-based, you have to really look into who are the developers, what are their motivations, what are they doing with your information, if anything? What is their stance on things like AI? If you're someone who is very anti-AI, this is why I no longer use Pro Writing Aid. We all have different tolerances for all of these different things. So you just have to make your own decisions and do your own research. So Carol has said that you've used Living Writer in the past and you think it's a good program. And that's another thing, asking other writers what they use and what they like. Someone's asked, do you know if Dropbox is considered safe? I use that sometimes. Yeah, I mean, don't quote me on that. We should do our research. I don't use Dropbox. I've used it at work, but I don't use it personally. But from what I know, those sorts of cloud programs or cloud storage, you are essentially renting space on their cloud, but it's still your stuff. So it's still private, and there's probably still some level of encryption and things like that. And Dropbox itself isn't using your information for their own purposes. But it's worth looking into Dropbox and what their data privacy and security policies are, what their terms of use and services are, and just being extra clear on all of that. I use Apple iCloud as my cloud storage, and I haven't looked into it extensively, but from what I know, everything on there is safe and private and encrypted, and I don't have a problem using it. Wiggy reads and writes. I love that username. Thank you for hosting the session. I got a chapter done of a new story idea I had today. Yay! We've been productive. Yay! A lot of people are saying that they sync Scrivener projects in Dropbox. I just copy the project over, Danny says. I just copy the project file over to Dropbox occasionally. Forward looking says, my university owns anything I create at work or at home, just anywhere. If I use their laptop/computer or supplied software, I have to have completely my own everything to be assured. Yeah, exactly. Same at my university. I think most universities are like that. So I've got my work laptop and I have my personal laptop, and I don't do anything personal related on on my work laptop. Desiree is with me with being done with subscription everything, especially everyday programs we all need to use day to day. Yeah, I would rather pay $500 for a lifetime license for Microsoft Word than do, like, it's just ridiculous. Okay, Reese asks, how do you compile manuscripts for self-publishing as ebooks? So I write everything in Scrivener. When I'm done, I export it or compile it from Scrivener to a Word doc, and then I don't even open that Word doc up. I just drag and drop it straight into Vellum. Vellum is what I use. Vellum is only on a Mac. So if you don't have a Mac, then it's the cost of getting a Mac and the cost of Vellum. But if you have a Mac, I think Vellum for formatting is worth its weight in gold. I would have paid, knowing what I know now and using it to format 8 of my 9 published novels, I honestly would have paid 2 or 3 times what I paid for Vellum, and it would have still already paid back itself. Yeah, like I'm a Mac user, so like I like that when you buy a Mac, it still comes with Apple Pages and Keynote and Numbers. So, and all of those things I can convert them to a Word doc. So I don't need anything. And I have Apple Intelligence just flat out turned off on my laptop, so I don't have to deal with any annoying AI features in each of those programs that I have to turn out. This is a good question. Jay's asking, if you put your books on Amazon, do you think they're scraping it given how they've invested in AI? I have not looked into this. I've not looked into their policies. This is a good question. And this is one where if they are, what am I going to do about it? So I think I probably haven't looked because maybe I don't want to know the answer. Like, I don't know for me that it would change anything. I don't think they are. But even as I say that, I don't know. It's a good question. It's one that I should probably look up. I think the problem is, so this brings up another good question, or an issue that I think a lot of us are dealing with. So Amazon recently changed their policy about digital rights management and about allowing users who buy a Kindle book to then download it and put from their Kindle account and put it on any other device. They used to let you do that. Then they stopped letting you do that. Then there were a whole bunch of people online on YouTube and Instagram and everywhere that got really, really mad and were trying to find ways around it to jailbreak your Kindle, essentially, and got really upset that Amazon started just kind of doubling down on the fact that you are not actually buying the book. You are buying a license to access the book through their Kindle devices. Well, back in November or December, they reversed that. And so now if a book doesn't have digital rights management applied, if you buy a Kindle book, you can then, from an author who doesn't have DRM applied, you can then download that book from your Kindle account in EPUB or PDF to put on any other device or read anywhere else. This means essentially that someone could also download a PDF of a book that they have bought from me and then put that PDF up anywhere they want. When I first started publishing, the advice was to not apply DRM because at the time in 2019, you could still download books, Kindle books that you purchase. And so applying DRM prevented legal purchasers of your book from being able to put it on any device or loan it to a friend or whatever, the same as they would do with a physical paperback copy. And so the thought was that applying DRM only really hurt the people who were legal, valid purchasers of your book, because the common sentiment and my belief has always been pirates are going to pirate. Tech companies are going to steal your work. There's really no way around that other than regulation. Like, we just flat out need AI regulation that says companies like Google and Amazon can't scrape people's work. That's what we need. We are probably still years away from getting that. So now that I have gone in and made sure, there was a whole issue where when they changed this feature again, I've never had DRM applied, but indie authors on Amazon, if you're thinking, yeah, I don't have DRM applied either, go in and look, because there is now a second box you have to check off to indicate that, yes, you are aware that not having DRM applied means anyone can now download your book. So I've had to do that for all 9 books and then republish them. So because of that, anyone could buy one of my books legally and then scrape it and feed it into an AI model. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't think Amazon's doing this. I don't know for sure, but if they are, basically at this point now, in order to allow you all to be able to buy my books and then my Kindle books and then read them on your Kobo or on your Nook or on your Google tablet or whatever, I'm also making it easier for someone else to come and take one of my books and pirate it. So I don't know. It's a losing battle in some ways. That was a long rant. Sorry about that. Let me catch up on the chat. A lot of people just saying they don't like Microsoft Word. I use it at work and I really don't like it. Maggie was asking, how do you sync your Scrivener, or is yours? Mine's all on one platform. I just use it on my laptop. If I do any work on my iPad or something, I then just copy and paste it over into Scrivener. I am not that technologically advanced. I know there's ways of, my dad found this and tried to share a tutorial, but there's a way of having Scrivener synced with Obsidian and then having Obsidian on all of your devices and synced. It sounds great. It's on my list to do it one day. I just haven't gotten around to it. Carol asked, have you used Pages? Yes. Actually, I think all of my first novel was written on Pages, because I didn't get Scrivener until 2016. So all of the first draft of Project Darkness was written in Pages, and all of A Brave Start was written in Pages as well. It wasn't until I started editing A Brave Start to publish it that I got Scrivener, because I started working on it and editing it for publication after I finished my PhD dissertation. And my PhD dissertation was when I got Scrivener. Yeah, a lot of us don't have hundreds of dollars to invest in a program, and that's why, I didn't get Vellum until after my first book. Like, what little money I made on A Brave Start, I saved and put towards I put towards Vellum. Vellum is $263. I would pay double that, but I'm glad it's priced the way that it is. Jay replied, if you don't want to know, don't read. Yeah. But they invested $8 billion into Anthropic. To be fair, my books are on Amazon. So it's one of those things where I'm just assuming that they are. And I just don't know what I would do, because I don't know that any other publishing platform would be any better. So it just kind of sucks. I mean, the only other thing I could do is not publish through anything and just publish my books as EPUBs directly through my website and not doing print on demand for paperbacks at all. Because even something like Ingram Spark or Lulu or Draft Digital, like those are the other big publishing platforms, Barnes and Noble. I don't know that any of them wouldn't also use that material in one way or another. Yeah, Harlequin Publishing is like that. They have all their books DRM, so you can't download it on another device. It is one thing I like about being an indie. I can just do that. I had someone reach out to me back in January who had just purchased one of my books and was like, "Hey, I really wanted to read this on my Kobo, but it's not letting me download it. Just wondering if you'd be willing to take DRM off." And I'm like, it shouldn't be on in the first place. That's when I realized there's an extra box I had to tick off that wasn't there when I first uploaded my books. Yeah, Desiree saying, unfortunately, us indie authors currently have nowhere else to go without a financial hit. Holding out hope for new website for publishing is created, is actually competitive and actually cares about authors. You know, there's a lot of things I like about publishing on Amazon. There's things I don't like. And I feel like from what I've heard about Ingram Spark and the others, they all have their pros and cons. At a certain point, I feel like I have to just focus on the readers that I have and just writing good stories for you and just hope that enough of you still care enough about supporting authors that you will legally pay to buy my books. Cinephile girl, it's a weird time to be a self-published author. It really, really is. But as Miralane but print to order has completely changed the game in the best way. It really, really has. And a lot of us are jumping in on this comment. Jen is saying that we're so dependent on on Amazon as self-published, and yet I'd love to have my books in indie or small bookstores. Yeah, I was just in one of my favorite indie bookstores today, and it's because I'm published on Amazon, it's so hard. But then Ingram Spark, which would be like probably the best place for me to be, I've just heard so many stories of like bad customer service, how expensive it can be. And yeah, it just, I don't know. Because Miralane is saying you can get your books in indie. Ingram Spark is what you need to be publishing through if you want to get your books in bookstores, because no one wants to order from Amazon. And to be fair, Amazon's expanded distribution is awful. You make nothing from copies that go through expanded distribution from a bookstore. I talked about this in my indie author income video back in November. Peter, if you're on a Mac, you're likely syncing to iCloud. Yeah, I am. In the UK, that is no longer encrypted, so how safe is safe? Yeah, it's hard. I don't like it. I don't know. I don't know the answers anymore, you guys. I don't think I ever knew them. Maggie asked, could you go directly to the indie bookstores? Yeah, I could. That's just effort. An effort that I don't know that there's enough people. I don't think there's enough people looking at my local indie bookstore to want to buy my books. So I don't know. I have thought about doing this, donating them to my local library. I need to see if they would do that. I've also thought about just going and putting a bunch in my in the little free libraries that I found around town. Esther says, also be competitive, the discount you'd have to have for bookstore to buy your book gives you pennies or negative monies. Yeah, I just, at the end of the day, I feel like the hard part is if you, unless you sell direct through your own website, you're always going to be limited. And yet, as problematic as Amazon and Ingram and all these places are, because obviously they want their own cut as well, you're still earning a much higher royalty than if you were traditionally published, and still doing about the same amount of marketing. But yeah. Elizabeth Rose, I didn't mean to push the topic, but I do find yeah, it's good. Like it's fun to talk about. It gets depressing sometimes, I feel like, but it is worth talking about. And it's important. These are all good conversations. I feel like I don't know that any of us have any solid answers, but hearing everyone's opinion is really helpful. And friendly reminder, yes, if you haven't liked the live stream, please like it. I would really appreciate that. It does, as Desiree points out as well. Thank you, Desiree, for being my hype person. It does help with engagement and all of those good YouTube things. So like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching on the replay, love our replay crew. And yeah, Marilyn, and there's so much on this topic, and there's so much, like everyone's talking about it. It can get overwhelming how many opinions you can find. Thank you, Carol. It can be overwhelming how many opinions you can find within AuthorTube. And I feel like some people are more qualified to talk about it than others. I don't know how qualified I am to talk about any of this because there's a lot that I don't know. But it is worth talking about. So any final questions? It's now 4:45. I said I was going to wrap up at 4:30. So we probably need to wrap this up. This is going to end up being a 2-hour stream again, but at least we were productive for the first hour. That's what matters, right? I got more work done on this book than I was going to today. I wasn't going to work on it. When I got home, when I was driving home from the bookstore, I was like, I should do a stream so that I can do some sprints and have you all help keep me accountable. So Maggie, how did your editing go in the last sprint? It went really well. I got 1,490 words written today that I otherwise wouldn't have done if I just come home and got on the couch. So I'm happy with that. I'm really happy with that. Esther says, we also need to remember we are also a business, so each has to decide what they are comfortable doing or not. That is really crucial. I think that's the critical advice here. We're all different. What some people feel comfortable with is not going to be the same for other people. And you have to do your research. So Marilyn is saying Bethany has done a series on self-publishing. Like I haven't checked out Bethany's videos. I know Katie Wismer has done some videos on this. I'm sure Sarah Cannon has. I think watch a bunch of people who are published wide, who can share their experience of working with all these different publishing platforms. I think in life in general, like don't ever make decision based on one other person's opinion alone. Collect as many opinions as you can, and then make your decisions based on that and what you feel comfortable. This is, so is that new words you add for draft 2? Yes. So sort of yes, sort of no. I'm rewriting chapter 24. And then I'm going to go back to chapter 1 and start editing through the book. And then I'll probably revise chapter 4 again, all as part of draft 2. So that's what I'm currently working on. Again, kind of going by Matt's advice. Matt in this book talks about rewriting your whole first draft to create your second draft. I'm not doing the whole, I'm not rewriting everything, but there's a few chapters that I feel like it would be better for me to just rewrite it than try to just edit here and there. So I'd say of the when I rewrite this, I'm probably going to be adding about 500 to 1,000 words new that didn't exist in the original version. So forward looking, yeah, do some random sprints just whenever, if the distraction procrastination is just switching. I think that's, I was really happy. I'm really happy to see that we've had 42 people join this very last minute late afternoon live. That gives me confidence that I can just kind of give you all 30 minutes warning and then pop on. So I do think this is going to happen a little bit more frequently. It's been hard to figure out my schedule and be able to schedule well in advance. So yeah, I'm glad you've liked this. Yeah, so someone's saying Katie is good. Sarah hasn't been as comprehensive, but I'm doing her Publish and Thrive course. She'll probably have a lot more in there. But I'm trying to think of other people. Someone's saying Thomas J. Belaza, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, is a mine of information. MK Williams has also done a lot. And her videos tend to be shorter, like 10 to 15 minute, packed with information. So would definitely recommend checking out hers. She's done a lot on like publishing on Amazon, publishing on Ingram, things like that. And Kindlepreneur is another good source. They've got a YouTube channel, Dave Chesson. You'll find a lot of stuff there. So yeah, check out a bunch of different people. Just remember that everyone is sharing their experience, their opinions based on their experience. Your mileage may vary. Your comfort level may vary. So no one, whether it's publishing advice or writing advice, advice is advice, advice is opinions. None of it should be taken as gospel or as the one and only truth. That's my stance on this. So, okay. You know what else is great about these live streams? Ideas for future content. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. You guys can always give me, always like share in the chat ideas you have for videos or topics you'd like to see me talk about. I can't guarantee how quickly you would see them as a finished video. Although, as I said earlier in the stream, the editing video, my editing process, that is going to be coming within the next couple of weeks. A little teaser / preview. Monday's video is going to be a chatty vlog focused on editing. So I started the rewrite of chapter 24. I talk a little bit about editing, giving you the editing update for Across the Pond 5. I also gave a brief answer to how to start writing, because after the how to develop a writing routine video, I've had a few people ask, but how do I start? I don't know how to start writing. So I talk about that a little bit, and I talk more about Matt's book in that vlog. So Monday will be a kind of chatty vlog. I see a lot of you in the chat getting excited about that. And then Wednesday's video, I still haven't filmed it yet, but giving you, can I move my computer? Giving you a slight sneak peek. I have rearranged my desktop. So I'm going to film a desk tour of my writing desk, and also talk a little bit about how to create a kind of productive writing desk. So in the developing a writing routine video, one of the pieces of advice I give was that you need to create a space for writing. So I'll do a like how to create a space for writing combined with a desk tour and how my desk is now set up. So you'll see a bit of the time lapse of me rearranging it in Monday's vlog, and then in Wednesday's vlog it'll be the desk tour itself. So I hope all of that sounds good. But now I really am going to wrap up this stream. I feel like the first half was really productive. The second half was definitely chatty. So I love seeing, Mirror says, or Lane says, my kid loves the chatty vlogs. I put it on to get her out of bed Tuesday morning. I saved them. That makes me so happy. I love that. I really love that. And I have a few people saying that they've been waiting to see a desk tour. It's about time. It really is about time. It's been a while since I've done an office and desk refresh, and my desk really needed it. So I'm really happy with it. I've got a few more tweaks I'm going to make tomorrow, and then I will film that. So yeah, and Desiree, it's been the best of both worlds today. We've been productive and we've been chatty. So I'm going to wrap this up. Please make sure that you have liked the stream if you haven't already. If you're watching on replay, big heart for all of you, big millennial heart for all of you, to my replay crew. Like, comment, subscribe. Links to all my things are in the description box, all the typical YouTube-y stuff. And yeah, keep an eye on community posts, on Instagram stories, and on the free tier of Patreon. That is where you will get your scheduled notices, or in today's case, your 30-minute warnings that I am going to be going live. So yeah, more of these to come. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to go now watch the replay of the Winter Olympics opening ceremony. That's on my list for this evening. So yeah, that's me for the rest of the night, and I will see you all very soon. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye.